Wait, what do I say? Welcome to the buy list. This is episode 72, I think.
I hope
right?
this is actually the intro to this week's episode because, like, we haven't recorded in so long. You literally forgot what we say.
Oh, yeah. Maybe this does make it in. Anyways, welcome to the buy list. This is episode 72.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard.
Ooh, look at that. You're rich, man.
I was told in Japan that I seemed angry. So they're like, "Why are you so angry?" And I was like, I'm not angry. I'm actually quite a happy person."
Yeah, it seems
So
like joyful throwing of cards.
yeah, it's a joyful act of violence. Have you all never seen the Joker? That man
Yeah.
loves
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm just like I was gentle today. Just to show I have multiple layers.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Nate, how was your week in Flesh and Blood? I know we've had a little bit of Worlds hiatus.
Yeah.
We did we did an episode in between your testing sessions before Worlds, and then, man, Japan, flying to and from Japan is not a small endeavor. It
No.
is, when it says 13 hours on the plane ticket. It's it's a lot. So we're a little bit slow to get back to recording.
Yeah.
But what'd you do? I guess, locally, what'd you do when you get back? You play any Flesh and Blood? Do anything?
Yeah. I went to my first armory this week. Pulled out the main man, a silly I went nearly 03. I went 1-2. It was a little bit rusty, but I'm slowly blinging out my Acilio deck. So I just got I got my final cold foil Channel Lightning Valley. Shout out to Tyler, Righteous Gaming.
Nice.
So for hooking me up. So I'm just slowly blinging out the Acilio now because there's literally no events for basically ever for me. So we're gonna get back in the content grind now that I'm like not super jet lagged anymore. It took me like a week to recover fully. I'm still like I'm not gonna lie, we're recording this right now at 9:00. I fell asleep already at 7:30. Like I took like a 20-minute nap at 7:30, which I know is not good or healthy, but I just needed it in my life. So, and I know you were feeling a little sick. You had to go out of town for work, but what'd you do this week in Flesh and Blood, dude?
So I was out of town from my home store, but last weekend I went to a little bit further away store from me, played some CC. It's kind of funny what you were just saying is I did kind of the same thing, is that I put together my Florian deck.
Nice.
Mostly blinged out. I have 2 Thistle Bloom and Life cold foils yet to get, and some cold foil trees still to get.
Why are you playing Thistle Bloom Life?
Dude, I'm playing that Scepter switch, dude. We make best shout out. Playing that toolbox Florian. Dude, I just want to zap people with 4 arcade, and then they can't do anything about it. I played a KO that had no AB, and it was just like zap, great 4 rune chance. You stack up rune chance really quick. He hit me for 37 on a double blood rush turn. So that game I did not win.
Shocker.
Yeah, and then Aurora double flicker wisp, double arc lightning me. So did not win that one. I went home early, 0-2, and it was like a 40-minute drive, and it was already like 8:30. So I was just like, you know what? Deuces, I'm out of here. That's enough. Yeah, like I think in the KO game, I actually there's nothing I could do about the double blood rush, but like I don't know. It's just little nuanced things where like I had tree in my hand and I should have took a little bit more damage just to play the tree and zap for 4 with the scepter, because it just applies so much more pressure. And it was like one of those things where I was like, oh yeah, I should think about that a little bit more, because I was more on like block out, I'll get them later. That got close, but that deck's sweet, and it's like you were just saying with Florian, it's fun because it is like, ooh, it's blingy, man. I have EA Germinates, I have cold foil arcane seeds. It's real nice. It's like it gets real blingy real quick, and it's just
Yeah.
like I love playing my Runeblade bling. So
Mhm.
cold foil grass made it onto the table since I got them into the new player slab at Worlds. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
We should talk about. I don't. This was definitely not on the agenda, but the new player slabs,
Oh yeah,
dude, they hit. They hit
they're
nice.
very
I would not. Even if I like was like playing the great stuff, I would wait until the new player slabs.
yeah,
They look amazing. The stupid strip on the back looked terrible, and I did not like it.
yep,
But the new player slab look really clean, really nice, and they are very compact. It is.
yeah,
You can get those suckers in just about anything.
yeah. They're actually they're not as thin as like the Japanese slabs that the snap fits that I have for like everything else, but they are super thin compared to the old version. I think they're only available in Japan or Asia right now through
Yes.
PCG. So I think next year they'll come to the States, and yeah, just wait on those. I like my whole order was all player slabs. Because I just want to play with all my
Yeah.
bling. So I was just like, they're like, well, you're not going to get a world's label. I was like, yeah, oh well. So I did them all. And they also, I don't know if you know this, Nate, but the tag on the back that shows your grades, that
Mhm.
shows your grade or subgrades if you get a 9.5 or higher, has an
Yep.
RFID tag in it. So
Yep.
you can scan it with your phone and then go to the link and it shows you everything. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Can
Yeah, it's a very nice product.
you imagine being in Japan, grading cards, and saying, "I do not want the world's label. I just want the player slab." That's
Yeah.
how good they look.
Yeah, it's yeah, because it fits in right with like it fits in it like yeah, it's they're not super thick anymore, so it kind of like fits on the table with like the rest of my stuff. It's a very nice product, very nice upgrade. I would suggest waiting and wait till those come to the States for sure.
For sure.
Also, I got some sweet grades. If you saw on my stream, I went through them all. I got
Yes.
a gold
I did
foil.
too.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good grade, good
Yes.
grading session for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, what was on the agenda is that since we haven't talked about it, just Japan in general.
Mhm.
How was your experience in Japan?
I want to live there permanently. I miss it every day.
Yeah,
It's just you come back to America filled with inefficiencies and everything super expensive, and then you wonder why you can't be in Japan eating your nice sit down meal for like under $10 where you don't have to tip anybody and where they don't ask you to tip.
yep,
And like you don't like there's not like a iPad in front of your face asking for a tip every 4 seconds.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
the subway system is super clean and
Oh my god,
great. Everywhere you go, it is clean. It is not dirty. Um, the convenience stores are amazing. I want to eat those egg sandwiches literally every day of my life.
yeah,
I should
yeah,
have bought
man.
more to smuggle home. Don't listen to this customs. I will do that next
Right,
time. The food is amazing. The people are so nice. The,
yeah,
I mean, like in France, the language barrier was somewhat of a hurdle. Like
mm,
in a lot of people spoke English there. In Japan,
yeah,
almost no one spoke English, but like there was like almost no hurdle because everything was so freaking efficient. Like
yeah,
it was amazing. I want to go back. I need more time.
yeah,
So
yeah. If there's a PT in Japan, like I want to say probably not next year. Like, well, it's going to be world. It's definitely not going to be next year because we know where all the PTs are at. But like,
we
if
don't know where
there's
APEC
one
is.
like the
It could be an
following
APEC.
year, I am. Yeah, I will go to a pro tour in Japan again. Easy peasy. I agree with everything you said. Kind of on our prep before the show, Nate, I made the comment that like going back to work, right, and everyone's like, "Hey, how's Japan?" And I honestly have found it kind of hard to explain because there's not like one thing. It's just this general vibe of a place.
Yep.
And it's kind of like hits on all the things you said. Like everything's super efficient. Everyone follows the rules. Um, I've been to many big cities, right, in the States. Went to Barcelona. Been to Europe, and you kind of have to like always just kind of watch and stuff. And it's not like I wasn't watching in Japan, but there's like zero stress. Everything's like you said, everything's clean. There's really um nothing that would make you kind of like, oh, I gotta watch myself. Don't turn down this alleyway. It's like I went all over Tokyo, and it was like, yeah, it was the crime rate is obviously known if you looked into it, right. It's super low, which just gave a just general vibe to the place that was really cool. I spent some time in Tokyo before going to Osaka. Dude, I want public transportation like that. It's just like, when you see something that's like 45 minutes away and you're like, oh man, like here, I'm like, I don't want to drive, I got to drive there, drive back. It's like you just hop on a train, you get on your phone, and then you're like, oh, I'm here. And
Yes.
it's just like everything's on time. I took the bullet train back and forth, which is an insane mode of travel. It was my first time ever on a high speed train. And it's just like, I'm over here like freaking out. I almost got on the funny little story. I'm back to Tokyo, Nate. I almost got on the wrong train leaving Osaka. And like I was like fully lifting my bag to get on, and I was like, wait, that's not my train number. And my train left at like 7:09, and it was like 7:02. And I'm like, it's like these trains are huge, right? I'm like, how is this happening? It left, and then mine showed up, and then we left again. It was like, what? Like, I don't understand how they do this so quickly. There's like, you see locals like walking up, and then like door opens and they're on, right? They just know that it's going to be there the minute they need it to be there, which in America, I would never assume that ever. It's either going to be late, it's going to be early, something's going to go wrong. But that was like the general vibe of that whole place, man. It's just like the food is amazing too. It's like everything but better quality, like
And cheaper.
literally, and cheaper. For like
Yeah.
on the food side, it was definitely cheaper. It was man, yeah. And then like, yeah, sightseeing and stuff is just amazing. Tokyo is just this sprawling metropolis. Now I understand sci-fi and Akira and like how that, like, assuming in 50 years that Tokyo is just this like mega city, right? Because it's like it feels almost like that right now when you look out. It's like, wow. But yeah, I want to go back.
Yeah. I did not get to spend any time in Tokyo, which makes me sad.
Yeah,
But I look at it this way: when I go back with my wife, I will be able to explore it for the first time. And I think
yeah.
Osaka, like low key, again, I wasn't in Tokyo, but Osaka slapped. That was a great
Oh,
place.
Osaka was great. Yeah,
Um, yeah, I had a blast. I wish I had more time. Is all. So,
yeah. The
yeah,
last day I was there, I was already like half dead, like walking 8 miles a day in Tokyo and everything, and then Worlds. And then I was like, no, I got to get out, spend my last day in Osaka.
yep,
And I just like stumbled onto this like famous food this famous food market,
yeah.
and it was wild, dude. It was so cool in there. Like you got to pick the fish, then they made it, then they make it into sushi, and then you eat it. Like there was like a couple places like that. It's like fresh. It was really cool. And
I
then
was
I went
very
to,
jealous when I was on the
yeah,
train back to Tokyo, and you were sending me these pictures.
yeah,
I'm lucky.
yeah. It's definitely worth going to.
Yes.
But yeah, Osaka was great too, man. Like kind of a different vibe, but a little bit the same, but definitely more food. Like that's what Osaka's known for.
Yep.
But um
Yeah.
yeah, so now I guess that's like general Japan vibes. How was your worlds?
I cashed. We did that. Got 63rd, snuck in there. So I played Viserai. I'd been on Viserai for a while and took a little bit of a spicier take on Viserai, which we'll do a deck tech on here shortly. We played Nebula Blade as the main weapon. Reaping Blade was the weapon of choice into like disruptive decks and decks that could potentially present Count Your Blessings. I had some very bad variants in draft. If you guys could break out the Kleenex box for me real quick, I'll tell you one of my stories. So day 2 of Worlds, feeling all right. X3 just this is first pod, day 1 of Worlds. Get into I'm 4-1. So I'm up at one of the higher pods and I'm feeling pretty good. The person next to me is clearly sending me signals that they are going to be wizard. And then I could tell there was another wizard downstream of them. So I said, okay, I understand. I hear you. I see you. And I respect you. I will be Florian. So I thought a pretty reasonable Florian deck. I pair into a Florian round 1. This man proceeds to have 2 red dirges, I think 1 or 2 red cussings, 2 red arcane seeds in life, and a channel millennium tree. One of his turns was play tree, play arcane seeds life, play red cussing. His hero ability is online at this point, by the way, just so you're aware. Swing sword. That was the turn that I had to play against in limited. So, of course, cussing triggered, created 4 rune chance for his following turn, which he still had a tree out for. 1 second, let me break out my abacus. Yeah, I was fucking dead. I played Lucas Oswald on Acilio, and it was a very good game. He barely got me. It was very tight. And then I played someone else, but I thought I was playing. There was a Aurora deck in our pod that had 2 Channel Lightning Valleys, and I said, I have a deck. Wow. And I got 1 win. I won the last game. So we got in. We got in the day 2, boys.
Oh my God. 2
we go into day 2 draft pod. All right. We just got to win out. We're X3. We just got to win out. Easy peasy. Pack 1, pick 1. Open my pack. Channel Lightning Valley. Guess how many times I've drafted a Lightning Hero? Not very often. But in the words of our Lord, Michael Fung, you draft the good cards. So I drafted the good cards. I drafted that. And then I got past 2 red electrostatic discharges in a row. And I took those. In my pack 2, I opened a Burn Up Shock. My deck was very stupid.
Yeah.
I went 2-1. I was playing Sebastian Grandal in the finals of the pod. I think he won one of the early callings on Phi when Stubbies was still alive.
Yeah.
And he proceeded to wreck me as I drew the wrong half of my deck. So Dream died, but in the end, we ended up 9-6. Right? 9-7? 9-6.
Yeah, 15 rounds.
Yes, because I lost 2 in CC there too. Yeah, so 9-6, barely squeaked in the top 64, got myself some cash. The CC deck was very, very good. I lost to an Enigma, a Dio that presented 40 damage to me on his second turn, and a new that my teammate told me, Ryan Rich, was on Count Your Blessings. So we were scouting, and he's like, this guy is on Count Your Blessings. I said, sick. I know this new is on Count Your Blessings. Guess what I got? Poison the Well. Guess what I flipped off Sonata? Poison the Well. Guess what? He was not playing in his deck. You bet.
Whoops.
Count your blessings.
Ooh, that's a nice no block blue in your deck.
Yep. Lost that game 1-1, baby.
Yeah.
Not bitter at all.
Yeah.
But no, it was a good weekend. It was good to see the team. Japan was great. I thought they ran Worlds very well. I loved the gacha game only because I got a removable dynamos.
Dude, I did really well in the gacha game too.
Gacha game
It was kind of nuts. I rolled it. When we rolled, I jokingly rolled a 1, got like a cold foil token, like prize wall, and then I was like, hey, Nate, you just roll 1 too, and then you did on a D20. Previously, I got like a box of Rosetta from that. It was crazy, dude. It was nuts. It was a lot of fun.
The best part about that gacha game was like you went first, you rolled the 1, got the cold foil token, which was like the biggest hit in that case.
Yeah.
At the time. So she's refilling it and she's about to put like a proclamation of like boring
combat
bullshit in.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh, do you want the dynamos in or the proclamation?" I was like, "I'm not hitting them anyways, but put the dynamos in."
Yeah.
And then I roll a 1 and I get dynamos. And I was like, "Great. This is the best game in the world."
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't I was just the side event, like just soaking up like all the vibes.
Yeah.
Another side note is pretty cool. You got to finally get in line to meet James White.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did that on Friday. Just the general vibes of Worlds was nuts. It was definitely a level up from Barcelona. Even Barcelona was crazy, but we're talking like 2 or 3 rows of people at every vendor, like almost like open to close.
Yes.
Best food at a convention yet. Like, of course, it's Japan, so you can get Wagyu bowls and salmon bowls.
Yeah.
It's like, this or chicken tenders that are like 4 days old at Baltimore.
Yeah, and $15.
And $15, while the Wagyu bowl was $5 or whatever. It was cheap. It was so cheap. Yeah, it was a sweet event. I had a lot of fun, played a lot of side events, got my anime heroes. Merch was really good. Like, again, everything was like leveled up on the LSS side. Merch, prize wall. Prize wall, they went like all out on like uncut sheets, which if that is like your jam, that would have been pretty cool. Not really something that I seek. But
they also did the Marvel big cards, which looked sick.
Oh yeah,
those but they were also cool. Like not the normal big cards, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and they're like as they like make them smaller and look better, they're starting to become like, all right,
yeah,
that's actually something I might be interested in.
Yeah, they got them down to a size where they can fit on a carry-on, which is like pretty clutch.
I think that's the biggest thing for them. I was shocked too at how quickly and how well the merch wall sold. And not only that, the secondary market coming back. I don't remember what was at. I think Barcelona was the first merch wall, right?
Yeah, actually it was, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Did you pick up anything from the merch wall to bring back? Like did it sell
adaptive plating mats sold halfway decent, but they didn't have much. It was just like at Barcelona, it was just a lot of like clothing and then a couple mats.
Okay.
And then some sleeves. This was like leveled way up, dude. They had like Ultra Pro, like Ultra Hives with like LSS printed, the Aria tree on it, which was super cool. Also the swag, the souvenir package was like, yeah, it sound like when I bought it, I was like $450. This is like, when I bought my own, I was like, okay, yeah, I see the value here, right?
Yeah.
Then I got to see that deck box, and I was like, whoa, deck box is super nice, actually.
The deck boxes are amazing. They're really high quality.
Yeah, yeah. I was surprised at how high quality they were. There was a lot of it was worth it. I'm glad I snagged one. But yeah, overall just like A plus, really. I mean, 10 out of 10, no notes.
The only thing I will say is the fact that you had to like figure out how to log in to show your receipt. Like you had to log into the website to figure out how to show them the receipt was really jank to get your stuff that you
I
bought.
told you like 2 weeks early and you just ignored me. And then the day of, you're like, wait, how do I do this? And they had like closed their website. And so that made it a little bit worse. But I had my QR code saved because I read that it said, oh, you need your QR codes. And then I was like, hey, Nate, you need your QR codes.
I figured I'd
like,
figure it out there.
No, it's fair. They should have been like emailed or something, but they were not. Yeah. So
that's the only thing. Everything
it's like their second big event.
Yes.
And Garofol did pretty good for being. That was a big undertaking. Yeah. So they did all right. I heard some side events went a little shaky, but like I would imagine all the horsepower went to Worlds because I heard nothing wrong with Worlds. No. And I would have heard if like this round took too long, you know what I mean? Any kind of pairing issues. So yeah. Yeah. So I think the next thing we wanted to talk about, Nate, was FAB market status in general, like post Worlds, almost did it, dude. Jarl with a Y, not with a J, Nate. Never Jarl. Say it with a J.
Jarl. I want engagement.
Dude, y'all came at me so hard at my last market minute. I got like 6 comments being like, dude, it's a soft J. I think it's pronounced Jarl. Yes.
Bruh, I barely speak English. All right? Like, let's not make this shit complicated.
Anyways, so we're like pre-Jarl deck.
Yeah.
Post Worlds.
Yeah.
And let's see, we got Portland coming up, and then right after that we have Chicago.
Chicago's LL.
Man. Chicago is LL.
Yeah.
Portland is CC, right? It has to be.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it has to be. Yeah.
The Battle Harden's Blitz, though, or Commoner.
Battle Harden's Commoner.
Yes.
So we were talking about this, but dude, there is some pressure going on in this market. Like Worlds was crazy popular. Like Worlds was like crazy. Like there's a lot of busyness there, but that was in Japan. Coming back here, maybe things slow down a little bit. No, I've been kind of paying attention because I put out those tweets every day on the buy list, Twitter, and Blue Sky. And things are just moving. There's times where I find a card, I'm like, and it's like over the last week, and it's like 6 sales per day over the last week, like 30 plus sales. I'm like, like today's was Seeds of Tomorrow. And I think the trend is too, Nate, is that like I keep finding Earth Rosetta cards are, if you haven't looked lately, whoo-wee, like Felling of the Crown, Plow Under, all those cards are going to the moon because there's just so many decks that want to play them. And
what's funny is none of them in CC right now.
Yeah. Yeah, like Florian. I think yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Like Rosetta just seems to be just cooking in general.
I mean, if you look, and we did this when we did our like Majestic review, you look across the board in, you all right there, Ted?
Yeah, I got it. We got it.
Looking across the board at the Majestics in Rosetta, there's no clear like that card's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like bad. Like,
yeah.
Why did they print this? There's no slays.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Slay.
Yeah.
But like all the cards are either like that card's broken, this card's very good, or this card's good. It's situational, but it's good.
Yeah.
And that's like seeds of tomorrow. Like that's not seeing CC play right now. That's seeing play in LL. Because good Lord, people don't want to die the Kano. But it's when you raise the floor of all of the cards, it seems like it kind of helps everything.
Yeah.
Because then it's not like the entire set is trying to be held up by weakest link or
Right.
warmongers or like
Yeah.
because there's just like good consistent cards across the board, which then kind of keeps everyone going back because they're not going to just like go open a box and be like, oh, I got 4 3-cent Majestics that I can never sell or trade,
Yeah.
so I guess I just lit $75 on fire.
I wonder if that's like I wonder if this is a little bit of a side effect of the we've talked about it before where the last couple sets or maybe even before that, right? The Majestics were up closer to like 49, 48. Rosetta was down to 40, right? I believe it's like low 40s total Majestics. So yeah, opening it, we've talked a little bit about it. Rosetta feels a little shaky. It's like a little up and down, right? Some boxes are just like heaters, some boxes are kind of not great, but that's really improved, right? There was like this downward slope, we talked about it. And then Rosetta's just keep climbing and climbing. And the one thing I could point to, Nate, is that Jarl deck is on the way, and he is using Earth card, or he is Earth, so that helps.
He
But
is
overall, I think it like shows kind of what an Armory deck, like Armory decks, the LSS must view them as a complete success right now. Like honestly, I don't know how I view them as a complete success because they're pumping up previous sets. Like even Bright Lights is getting some pressure from Dio. So
it
like it's really doing what they want to do, right? Engages new players, and then on the back end, just like you know, rising tides lift all boats.
it I 100% agree, and I think it cannot be understated what it is doing to get new players into the game. It's we have 2 new locals, and they both showed up with Armory decks. Like, and this is just like
That's
at my
awesome.
store. There's nearby stores where there's 2 or 3 people coming into the game from Magic, and they're talking about how they bought the Bolton and the Azalea Armory deck. They're starting the game with the Armory decks. It gives them a very clear like, buy this, show up, we'll teach you. Like
Yeah.
that is such a clean and easy path. It removes a lot of the resistance to trying Flesh and Blood, right? Like
Hmm.
previously, it was like, I hope you know somebody, or you spend 13 hours on YouTube trying to figure out like how
Yeah.
to build the deck and what to bring because it's
Yeah.
gonna be bad. Um,
And
but
then
like,
too, they put out those videos we talked about. Sorry to cut you off there, but then
yeah,
like the videos just being like, "Hey, this is how this deck plays,"
yeah, you're
is
welcome for
super
that,
good.
LSS.
Carol,
Don't think I didn't
we see
notice.
you, Carol.
Yeah, yeah, we see you, Carol. Don't think I didn't notice that we did the KO one, and then you guys started doing the series after that.
You probably brought it to Alex and was like, this would be a good idea.
I mean,
In
I'm
my
just,
head canon, that's what happened.
yeah.
Carol, you're welcome.
You're welcome, Carol. Love you. Sad you weren't at Worlds. Um, but like, the decks are very good. It's such a clean and easy entry point for new players, and we are like, this should be one of the slow to like really
Yep.
down times for
Yeah.
like really most competitive games.
And if you're
Um,
new to Flesh and Blood 2, December is almost all like December is like a complete almost dead zone.
yes, for
For
events.
LSS, for events, really like, there might be like I think this calling in Chicago might be one of the first times I can remember something happening in December even. I might be wrong on that, but it definitely feels they go on holiday essentially. Um, and they kind of do the Christmas like baubles and stuff, and then reset for the new year. So just like you said, like it should be really slow, but like I consistently find cards that are just selling. These cards aren't like $50, but they're like jumping from $2 to $5 on like 30 sales in a week. It's like, that's interesting.
Yeah. I know that like when I got back and turned on my store and uploaded stuff, like things started moving. And like, listen,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like playing small ball over here. I ain't Teddy Big Bucks. But I know Ted's seen the same thing. Is
Yeah.
like you
Mm-hmm.
like everything across the board. And then usually this is the slow time where things aren't moving much because there's no big events coming up. You got like there's no pro
Mm-hmm.
tours, there's no road to Nats, there's just like two callings.
Yeah.
And you think about like a lot of people aren't traveling to these callings,
Yeah.
but yet things are just humming. People are excited. And I really like the kind of like the energy that the Armory decks interject
Mm-hmm.
into these slower seasons. So it feels weird. I'm actually a little concerned about next year because I think there's only like 2 or 3 Armory decks.
Uh
And I love Armory
yeah.
decks.
Not
I'm an
now that I
Armory
think
deck enjoyer.
yeah. I know there's one like right in March, unless that's changed. I can't remember if it did or not, but yeah, you might be right. It might have slowed down a bit. Um, the nice thing about it is, not even like past the just as a product. I wanted to bring up too is like a product as a whole for LSS. Like they must be. I would imagine they view it. They're pretty happy with like how it turned out because there's a lot of hand wringing, Nate, about my store can only get max of 12. Like, how is this going to work? And they put out enough of them now, and it's very interesting. They've designed them well enough to where there's powerful cards in there that like KO is always going to need, Azalea is always going to need. And so like my store had some sitting on the shelf and they sold them online. Like they were like, we're going to keep one or two and then all of our extras will just sell online, and they just gone. So there's like they've kind of like threaded the needle here a little bit, right? They're like, I don't hear anyone complaining about not being able to get Armory decks anymore. Like that's
Yep.
not a thing, even though that was a big hubbub. And then also stores aren't stuck with them because they're good EV,
Yep.
and then they're bringing new players in. So and normally starter decks are complete ass cheeks for like TCGs. Like they're either no value and you just have to buy it and then be like, oh, this is a fun game. Let me replace this whole thing with a new deck.
Yeah.
Or like, or they're just pumped full of reprints and they kill the thing. They kill the card game where you had to buy a box and like collect your cards. So it's like I think they've done a nice job like finding a middle ground for this
Yeah.
product.
Yeah. And we're also seeing less meaningful reprints in
Yeah.
the Armory decks where like there might be like we saw like Red on the Ledger at 1 where in the Armory deck, which it actually helped the Red in the Ledger price instead of hurt it,
Yeah.
which is hilarious,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's encouraging people to engage further with the game, and
Yeah.
it's really beautiful design, and I want to continue to see more and more of it. And I think it would be hard to look at Armory decks and not view them as like a just an overwhelming success.
Yeah. I would like to see. I'll just shout this out to you right now
Yeah.
while we're cooking. I would like to see Armory Deck Origins, if they do another new hero, to come in the 800 count box and come with a mat of like the one of the pieces of the like new armor in the set or something. Just a cool mat that like themes it out, locks that new player in real tight. And I
Point, counter,
think
point counterpoint. There's too much neoprene in Fab,
there is a
and like
lot, but like I honestly like new players come to me and be like, where do I get a mat? I want, like I there's a lot of times I hear new player sentiment about like wanting a fab mat, right? Of course they have a MTG mat or wherever they're coming from, but they want those zones, they want the theme. Um And honestly, I think they could use the mat and the 800 count to kind of hide the extra cost that goes into a developing an origin, a new hero deck. Because a mat's going to cost them like a couple bucks. I don't know the business of this, but I bet you they could hide it a little bit, right? Like, would you buy Jarl with like Crumble to Eternity mat and an 800 count with a Jarl box for $70? Because it wouldn't cost, it's not going to go up that much. I think you would. And it would feel better.
I'm a degenerate, Ted. That's a terrible question for me. I would buy literally anything. Okay. Yeah. LSS, you could literally just sell these and I would buy them. I just like them. I literally steal them every time at professional level drafts. When the cards are in these, I try to take them. And when the judges try to take them away from me, I say, no, I want to keep. Why? It just no reason. It sits on my desk. I just think it looks cool and it brings me joy.
Yeah. I have a stack of them too. Every gold foil that I open, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think 60 is kind of pushing it already for a starter deck. I think 70 would price new players out of the market. Degenerates like us would always buy it, right?
Yeah.
So they need I guess if the new player comes in, they aren't thrown a mat in all the commons and rares they ever want. It's a failure on the community of that local area. Because like we raffle off our mat every month, and like when we raffled it off last month, we have 2 new players. It's like, why are we putting everyone in this raffle? Just put the 2 new players in there. Give them a mat. You want the other mat? Good. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I have an Olympia mat that I will literally give away for free as long as I do not have to do anything with it. Like if I have to put 0 energy into it and I get to make someone locally happy, great. It's gone. I don't want it. Olympia sucks. Shots fired to the one Olympia stand out there.
Yeah. But I mean, it's I don't know. I thought it could be something interesting you could do to make a new hero coming out in an Armory deck a little bit more special. But like going back to the market too, I guess like you were saying, you were seeing some sales. I've seen some sales recently too of cards that I would expect to see before a competitive season. I'm selling Command and Conquerors. I'm selling Grasp. Like I always expect to sell little things here and there, but maybe Jarl is pushing that as well because he definitely wants a couple Command and Conquers. But yeah, overall, it shouldn't be as booming as it is, but it's moving pretty well. So
yeah, I mean, like you sold 4 Command and Conquers today alone. Like I think that's kind of like that's very telling of like staples like that. Like I was bored today and I was just kind of like perusing the just like the sets and kind of like where prices are, what's cooking, what's not. And it was like the non-foil tunic from Evo is back up to like 130.
Yeah.
Like things be cooking, man. And like I was gonna like pull my I've sold 2 grass in the last 2 days. Like I think it's moving, and it's not just like one thing or one deck that's kind of like popping off. Like it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah. I think Rosetta in general is like moving fast, like I mentioned, and then old staples. Things like the Dash deck moved a lot of mech cards. So yeah, I think the Armory decks are doing that perfect bridging between sets, which is great to see.
Yeah.
I guess we're 45 minutes in here. The last thing I'd like to say is like shout out to the team at LSS that does the Armory kits. I think we mentioned it before. The Rosetta Armory kits have been awesome. And then this year's holiday kit is sick. It's so cool. Yes. Dude, the cracker baubles are like the best, are just an ingenious idea where they're the split cards and then you pull them apart when you pitch it. So awesome, dude. I am going to get myself a stack of those. And then probably simulate the cracking of them because I want to keep them. But like, that's like that. I can't wait to put together a UPF game with like those, figure out how to like, maybe some house rules, put those in decks or whatever, because that's super cool. And then the new promo too, where Spirit of Christmas is a cold foil, which is really cool.
It's cold foil?
Hats off. Yeah, dude.
It's about to get real sweaty in here.
Yeah, dude. Smash Palace is coming, brother. The hunt is already coming. We can talk about the hunted next episode, I suppose.
Our rampant hunted speculations?
Yeah. Let's do that next episode. Let's wrap it up here. 46 minutes.
Brian is fast asleep.
Yeah.
It is.
It's true.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe. Trying to get to that 1,400 subs. That's our next goal.
1,400. Let's go, people. And remember, always put your money where your mouth is.
Peace.
Peace.